also the fact that you're doing this, Dr. Lax, I'm in awe that you even came up with the question, with the whole thing about purpose. And I don't know if you remember that I asked you, what made you do this? What made you even think of this?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, yes, because it will help me answer the people who the takeaway, give the takeaway. It would help me answer that as well.
And I should not take any credit for coming up with this. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I went to bed one night. I'd done an interview on a program. I think it's called Leafless but Not Lifeless. And it's an interview I did, and it was on a program. And the whole idea is for people that you write off and leave them there. And they said, but they're not lifeless. So there's still possibilities. And I started to really think and said, well, there are possibilities. So, but we're not going after them. We're not capitalizing these possibilities, and some of them are opportunities. And I started to think back, I said, well, we're probably not doing it because we're not very intentional. So anyway, I went to bed and I woke, I don't know, something clicked, something happened. And I woke up. I said, I'm doing something about purpose. I had no idea it was about purpose. And I woke up that's why I say I'm not taking credit for it.
Right.
Honestly, I'm not. And the more I think about it, I know it's not me.
Right. But
it really
you're a vessel that was chosen for that. So not necessarily that you should take credit, but you should also take time to acknowledge that you became the vessel that was for that.
That I am. And not just me. All the individuals who have participated.
Yes.
It's a collaborative
effort.
And that's why I say to take credit is just a thing. It's an ecosystem that we're working on, the many stakeholders. You're one, and all the other folks I've interviewed. And that's why I say I have to be very careful, because I can't interview myself.
Right.
I can't bring out my purpose without having, because even with me, I'm not so sure that I was so deeply vested into understanding purpose. I was just living.
Right.
Doing things, of course, but maybe not as intentional as I ought to be.
No, you can't say that about yourself, because I know you.
No, well, not as
didn't give it enough thought, but you were intentional about everything you do.
But not as laser focused as I am now.
Right.
And seeing purpose just not as an individual trying to pursue, but as getting more and more people involved.
Right.
So that's how it came about. And then the next morning, so I got up and jumped up, just like how you jump up to go do your real estate.
Right.
I got up and I said, I went to my Kiana, my daughter, hope she don't mind me calling her name, on this platform. And I said, Kiana, I'm doing something about purpose. Look, I want to do some work, body of work about purpose. And then what can we call it? And we saw as they collide, and then out of nowhere, say a collision with purpose.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened. And got together, did all the thing, got it up and running the same day. In no time. So it worked. It developed momentum before we even started it.
Yes.
And hence we're here.
Did you know at that time you were going to be interviewing people, or did you think that you were just going to be presenting different, like a series?
So I started out by doing walking in the park, and I always do I
remember those. Yes.
I'm walking. Because two things, knowing that I'm doing a video, it sort of forced me to go out there and walk, right? So that was a positive. And then you're freer when you're out there. And I was just talking without preparing anything. Just whatever came to my mind. So I wanted it to be like that, most
organic,
natural, authentic way. Because when you deal with a purpose, it needs to be authentic, right? It needs to be you. So I started out with saying a 1-minute video, send me your 1 minute, and just talk about purpose in general way. But I knew it had to go somewhere else. And it was going to be the interviews, and then other things was going to come from that. So I knew that. And it went so fast that so many 31 interviews, I said, no, let's push the platform and get information out there. And also, I want to do some panels as well, where I get 6 people on, and we have this wonderful discussion about the important, consequential topic that we talk about, which is purpose, right? Yeah, so hopefully, long answer to your question.
Good answer, not long.
Yeah, and that's how I got that, and that's where it is. And I tell you what else is happening. I met with my publisher, and I'm now in the process of writing. And I want to tell you who the publisher is. It's Victoria's U Press is a publisher. And the publisher told me that I need to have the manuscript ready in 6 weeks.
6 weeks from now?
Yes. Yesterday, day one. 6 weeks we'll have the manuscript ready, and she said she will give me a book number 1, that is, in August. And that will coincide with a missionary journey to Kenya.
Okay.
I'm on a Kenya thing, to do some work there. And that will coincide with that. So that even added more urgency and also significance and importance. So yeah, so that's how it's working. And that's just one off. And then the next step in this whole thing, and then you ask me, this is the first time I've been asked a question during the interview. We normally do it after. So we're also doing a learning institution where we're going to be looking at the elements that are so critical to support the pursuit of purpose, like intentionality, self-engagement, introspection, quiet moment, and those type of things. And then we're going to be creating curriculums and teach those principles.
Who will be the students?
The students?
Yes, who will be the ones
everyone that needs to pursue and become better at pursuing, more effective, more efficient.
And we're all always learning, so
yes. And
all of us.
And we who are going to be involved with it are the number 1 students, because as you teach, you learn.
Exactly.
So we're all going to be students. So, and again, a key focus is on the serve, because I think we need to lift up our most at-risk citizens, residents in our community. So, and education, and not just education, but education focused on growth, improvements, and becoming more productive members of society is so critical. So
it will make a difference. It will make a big difference with the young people, with even us adults who we think we found our purpose. There's always more to learn. And like you said, it makes you more introspective. If you ask the question, what is your purpose? It makes you think.
And that, it's interesting you say that, because I've approached certain friends and said, let's have a conversation about purpose. And I said, why would I want to talk about purpose? And after the conversation, they said, whoa, I want to come back on.
Yes.
Because they started to think. Become introspective.
It's almost a part of it is like giving an account as well, because it's stuff you never really thought about in that way. You just live your life. And then when you get interviewed like this, it makes you think, go back and think of, how did I get here? What have I done to help others? Things that you don't think about all the time. You just do it, or you just live. But you're
because why do something if you don't have to, right?
Exactly.
So if you're not asked the question, well, there's no need for an answer. And by having to answer, it forces you to dig in, look inside.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought it up, because that's what this thing is all about. It's about.
And I can add that to my list as well, because you asked me what would I say to others, especially those who are seeking to find their purpose. I would refer them to the series. I would refer them to listen to other people who have found their purpose or didn't even realize it. Because some of those interviews that I've listened to, they're very interesting because even while the person is speaking, you can tell that even while they're speaking is when they're realizing some of their purpose.
They're searching.
Yes.
And that's why it's the whole idea is an opportunity to explore self.
Yes.
So it's really exploration, but in exploration of self that you're doing when you're on. The questions are to force you to, or it allows you, not force, but allows you to look within.
Yes.
And there's a reason why we say take a quiet moment and listen, be introspective. And so all those words are very intentionally used.
I know, yes, I could tell.
So, but so some little bit of thoughts went into it.